after the draft. And he said, if we started a season today, Mason would be our starter. We're excited to see where that can go. He's 5-4-1 as an NFL starter, albeit in a backup kind of role, but we're excited to see what is next for Mason. So two things we can say about that. One of them is, Jeremy Fowler told us yesterday that when Mason Rudolph came out in the draft, that Colbert had a first-round grade on him, so he likes him. The second is, that's the kind of thing that you say in February, and it doesn't necessarily mean that anyone is holding you to it whatsoever. So, Chris Canty, as you observe the Steelers situation, what should they do to replace Big Ben at quarterback right now?
I think they should take a big swing at one of those quarterbacks that could potentially be on the market for trade, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I think you owe it to yourself to go after one of those guys because of the caliber of defense that you have when those guys are healthy. T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year, Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt coming back, Minka Fitzpatrick. You have a lot of difference makers on that side of the ball. Try to balance that out with an offense and what you can do with Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. That team can contend in the AFC, not just their division, but they can make some noise in the conference.
You know, we've thought so much about Russell Wilson. I hadn't thought of Rodgers until you just said it. I am remembering, and Stick, maybe we can find the video for later in the show today, that moment that Rodgers and Tomlin had on the field last. Read that
Green Bay, yeah.
Moment of respect and a little wink and a little like, they like each other, those two guys. So it doesn't seem as far-fetched as you might otherwise think. RG3, what should they be doing? What should the Steelers be thinking about?
Oh, the Steelers should go get Russell Wilson, in my opinion. I like the Aaron Rodgers piece there by Canty. I just don't know if the short-term fix is what the Steelers are really looking for. You know, Russell could play another 5 to 10 years if he wanted to. So I think that's the way they need to go. And if they don't do that, they need to get Kenny with it. Go get Kenny Pickett from Pitt. He's right there in your own backyard. Draft him. Let him compete with Rudolph and Haskins and see what you have. But for me, like I said, they have to figure out a way to fix their offensive line. And on defense, for as many great players as they have to buckle down and stop the run. That is Steeler ball, and they've gotten away from that. And they got to get back to it if they want to be successful.
To be clear, Kenny Pickett, for those who don't know, he's a kid who started 49 games in college. So he would be the most pro-ready of the rookie quarterbacks now. If you're looking at that, you bring him in, let him compete with Mason Rudolph. That's one way of looking at it. How do you see this thing, Graziano?
I think they'll play on that veteran market. I don't know if they'll be able to. I mean, maybe they can convince Russell Wilson and Seattle to trade him to them. But I think, you know, they do have the elite defensive front. They have the first-round running back. They have good wide receivers. I think they need to, obviously, the offensive line is a significant problem they're going to have to fix no matter who the quarterback is. But I think they owe it to themselves and their fans and the fact that they're a constant contender. They're one of these never rebuild teams. Tomlin's never had a losing season. I think they need to try and get as good as they can at that position.
And look, I'm in no way diminishing the significance of an offensive line. They desperately need one. But it is worth reminding everyone, the Bengals might have had the worst offensive line we've ever seen, and they made it to the Super Bowl this year. If you have the right pieces in place, and look, they've got a bunch of really good players in Cincinnati, so do the Steelers. I'm told we have it. That's a great job by the staff. Let's just remember this moment from Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin on the field during that game this year. You know, they tried to catch him quick with a timeout, all that kind of stuff. And look at that. He's got a little look of respect. Tomlin's got a little look back. Come on. Are you telling me those aren't two guys who were thinking, you know, we could team up some days and be pretty good with each? Yeah, look at that. They love it. What do you think, Canty? That to me looks like a match made in heaven.
I mean, you usually get dinner first before you see those kind of smiles.
Wow.
But I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think there's something that absolutely makes sense. If they can make it work out, then go after Aaron Rodgers. I think it puts Aaron Rodgers in a situation where he can compete at a really high level and he can navigate around the issues on the offensive line because Green Bay's offensive line was banged up this season. Russell Wilson has been one of the most sacked quarterbacks since he's come into the league. He's found a way to be able to work around it. So it's not as if those two quarterbacks can't elevate the play of everybody around them. And with the pieces that the Pittsburgh Steelers have in place, it just seems like it makes sense to be very aggressive this offseason and trying to go at the top of the market when it comes to quarterback play.
Look, I have no idea how realistic this is. Probably not at all. If Aaron Rodgers became the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, depending on what they'd have to give up, you'd have to say they are right there with anybody in the AFC.
Could you give up too much, Greeny?
Well,
could you give up too much right now?
I guess I just mean as far as what it would diminish their chances to compete with everybody else. I mean, Rodgers is not a magician, but he's as close to it as we get, right? He's as close as we get. All of a sudden, we were talking about that division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I mean, you don't sneeze at Aaron Rodgers no matter who else is playing in the circumstance.
Yeah, I think if you're the Steelers, you have to think big, and I think you have to at least make a phone call and find out what your chances are on Rodgers, on Wilson. I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson, how available he's going to going to be, but I would certainly put him in a similar bucket in terms of high-end talent. And right here, like how many guys in the league do you think Aaron Rodgers thinks are as good as he is? Like 3? I mean, now you've got a chance to put him with a coach that may fit that description. I'd look into it.
That was a unique look of respect, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That was a unique moment between those two extraordinarily accomplished individuals. Who signs up to see the two of them together next year? We'll see if they can do it. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.